I'm Hannah Christensen. I'm from Ord, Nebraska, and my major is equine industry.
My name's Lexi Olson, and I'm from Hemingford, Nebraska, and my major is vet tech.
I'm Rachel Schmitz. I'm from O'Neill, and my major is equine industry management.
Hi, I'm Ashton Martin. I'm from Wyoming, and my major is agronomy.
My name's Rihanna Jordan. I'm from Unadilla, Nebraska, and my major is equine industrial management.
Hey, I'm Colton Mickelson. I'm from Du Bois, Idaho, and I'm majoring in animal production systems.
I'm Rebecca Lamberson, and I'm from Prague, Nebraska, and my major is equine industry management.
Room before you saddle. Today, we're going to be talking about brushes. This is a rubber curry comb. It takes off the loose hair and the dirt off the horse. You go with the hair of the horse in circular motions, like so.
This is a hard bristle brush. With this brush, you use short, swift, flicking motions to brush off the horse. It picks up the stuff that the curry comb left, like so. This is a soft brush. It's got softer bristles. You can use it with long strokes, like so, and like the harder body brush. It's a short stroke brush. This one you use on the face and the legs mainly. And that's what this brush is for.
Okay. Before you ever saddle, you want to be sure to do an equipment check to check for weak pieces in the leather that might break off. I'm going to show the things to check for on an English saddle and an English bridle and headstall. On the saddle, you want to make sure that these leather billets here that hold on the girth are not weak or thin in any area. Pull on them to make sure that they're not going to come off or come loose. Make sure that you don't have any rust on the metal pieces. And then again with the nylon up here, make sure that there's no tears or frays or any weak spots that might break off as you ride. Always check your stirrup leathers as well. You don't want to stirrup breaking when you're riding. Again, just check the leathers for weak spots. And also the hardware for any rusting. When you're not on your horse, always make sure that your stirrup leathers are run up. If they're not, your horse can get a leg caught and they can get hurt. You can get hurt. And also they can get caught, like if you're walking by a fence or something, they can get caught on that as well. Tear and break. When you go to get on, just bring them down like that. And then when you go back when you dismount, run them up again. You just run them to the front as high as they'll go, and then bring the leather piece over the stirrup iron and the stirrup tread. Make sure that your seat doesn't have any broken points. You can check in between the panels. These are your panels. For any weak spots, any creaking is a signal that something in there is broken. When you go to check for weak pieces or broken pieces in your bridle, you want to check your bit. If you have a jointed bit, you want to make sure that there's fluid motion. You don't want any sticky pieces. It's uncomfortable and they can pinch your horse's mouth. Especially here, puts a lot of pressure on the tongue, and you don't want it pinching the horse's tongue. It can cause them to bob their head or even rear back. Again, check the crown piece for any weak spots. You can go on the edges. Check the brow band where it attaches to the cheek piece. Check your nose band on these junction areas for any weak spots. And then, of course, your reins. Make sure that they're secured on there. You don't want a rein falling off as you're riding or you're steering, can cause a wreck. And then where they attach, check for rusting in the hardware and any thin down, frayed pieces in your leather. Okay, our demonstration is over saddling and saddling equipment. To begin, we're going to go over the English style of riding. You do not rope in this discipline. You do like hunter under saddle and equitation. So, to begin, this is an English bridle. It's a little bit different. You have a nose band, a brow band, your crown piece, and the throat latch. And then just a simple snaffle bit. And typically, English reins are single reins that you just drape over the neck and use versus a split rein. This is an English blanket. Again, you want to be on the left side of your horse. I start a little bit higher and I work down so that you're not rubbing against the horse's coat. Slide it on. It should be a little behind their withers, the highest point of their withers. Again, make sure that it's even, that there's no wrinkles. You don't want it to come under like this. It's going to be uncomfortable for your horse. Once you get the blanket on and it's situated evenly, you're going to grab the saddle. This is an English saddle. Always make sure that when you're not on your horse or you're not ready to mount, that your stirrup leathers are run up so that your horse doesn't get their feet caught or that it doesn't catch on anything. Move your girth out of the way and then lift the saddle on, gently lay it down. You don't want to slap your horse with it. You're going to gently lay it down. Make sure it's even along their spine so you're not hitting any sensitive pressure points. Again, keep your stirrups run up until you're ready to mount. You're going to drop the girth. Here you have these billets that are underneath. You just strap however fat or skinny your horse is, you can adjust to the width of the heart girth. Come around to the other side. Always let your horse know where you're at. Under. Again, hold up, butts. And you'll just adjust to whatever length you need. Well, make sure that they're even. You have an even number of holes on each side. And when you get ready to mount, just run your stirrups down. Saddle, you'll need a leg up or a mounting block because they tend to slide a bit more.
Before you saddle, to check your gear for any wear and tear. This, since it's a cinch and it gets moved a lot, it could possibly have tears or rips or just bad spots, but it looks good for now. You want to definitely check both cinches, or latigos, and cinches. You want to check cinches too. This isn't a leather one, so don't have to worry about that one. This isn't something you really want to see. See, it's broken. Somebody didn't check before they just flipped it on a horse. Then, you always want to make sure your cinch looks good. You want to look underneath it. It's going to have a little bit wear. You see this one does, but it's still good. Smells sweaty. This is good. You also want to make sure you check the pieces. If you have a back cinch as well, you want to check the piece that connects the two cinches together, because if this breaks while you're riding, your back cinch may possibly ride back by your flank, and then you've got a bronc on your hands. You also want to check these pieces to make sure that they're not torn or anything, because that could be bad as well. These look good, all of them. Now, you also want to check your bridle. You want to make sure that everything is still good. Check your bit. This one isn't a moving bit, but it still could rust or have some sharper edges from chewing and whatnot. Check this. It gets buckled often. Now this bridle particularly has Chicago screws. Chicago screws, in my personal experience, have a tendency to come undone while you're riding. It's not fun. So you always want to make sure those are nice and tight if you have them. This one has quite a few, but only a few that will. And also on reins, you want to check your reins as well. Make sure they don't have any wear or tear.
Okay, this isn't a Western headstall, and this part right here, the leather part, is the headstall. These are the reins. The reins are what you control the horse with. This is the bit and the shank of the bit. This is the throat latch, and this headstall should have a curb strap that controls behind your horse's chin, and this is the brow band. When you go to put the horse's headstall on, you always want to flip over the opposite side's rein, which would be the right rein, because you do everything on the left side. Put your horse's headstall on, ask them to open up their mouth, make sure you have 3 points of contact. You always want to make sure that with split reins that you keep them up so your horse doesn't step on them and he doesn't pull back and break your bits or do any damage to him or anyone else.
Okay, I personally like to use a thicker saddle pad just for more support. And the reason why you want this gap in between here is so that when your saddle lays on there, it doesn't just rub on the withers because it can hurt your horse.
Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to put on a Western saddle. Alright, now you want to start by picking it up. Normally hold it right here under the horn, and then either on the bottom side of the cantle or underneath the skirting on your saddle. I come over here by the horse, and you don't want to, you don't want to really throw it on him. You don't want to hurt the horse, but you want to have enough that you can get your cinches and your stirrup over. So you kind of throw it over the top. Make sure it sits just right. You kind of want it to be up there on the withers. You don't want it to be up past the saddle blanket, else you're going to have too much hanging over. It's going to be uncomfortable for the horse. You want it to be about even right in the middle, just to help you out the most when you're riding. Alright, and after you get it on, you want to go to your other side. Alright, and when you get on your other side, you want to drop your cinches. Alright, you're going to drop both of these, and you can kind of see you want this to about hit right in the middle on its belly. And you kind of want it, you want to hit this, you want to get your front cinch just a little bit behind the front leg of your horse. And you don't want to just thrust it under there. You don't want to spook your horse, but you always want to be in the right position too, right? You don't want to be jumping into them as you're going around to put your saddle on or to cinch it up. But you always want to be where you be safe. You can be out of the way. So after you drop that, go back over to the other side. And we'll come over here and we'll kind of go underneath. I mean, if you're dealing with an inexperienced horse, you don't want to just reach under there and grab your cinch, but kind of feel them under the belly a little bit and get your front cinch and bring it under. And you always want to do the front cinch first, because if you do your back cinch, if your horse happens to freak out or misbehave in any way, your back cinch, it can slide way back and it can get around their flank, which causes a bigger problem than what you had. That's what they use on a lot of buck and stock and stuff. By cinching it up down there, you could go for a pretty wild ride. So you want to put it right through here and to the top, and you bring it through likewise, and you kind of tighten it up without knocking it over. This horse is a little insecure. So, right, and we don't want to, you kind of keep it loose at first. A lot of horses have been saddled up a lot of times, they keep a lot of air in their belly, and you won't be able to tighten up all the way. And so I kind of like to keep it loose at first on a lot of my horses before I initially get on. This does go in here. That's broke right now, so I'll just leave it down. And then next, you go on your back cinch. In the same way, you kind of fill up under there. You get the cinch, you bring it over, and you do it up. Now this one, you don't want to do it really tight. This one will be done up tight, and this will be done up a little looser. You maybe want like a finger or two space underneath. Because that's not going to be the initial. This was what's going to initially keep you on the horse. And after you get that done up, you put that in there. And then we'll come over here and do your breast collar. Alright, so your horse's head is going to be coming up about right here. And so you want to loosen this up. And you want to kind of drop it and reach underneath and grab this. And we'll connect this around the neck right to here. Right, and you don't want this to be super tight. You don't want it to be way loose either though. But you want it to be about just right, that when you're riding your saddle, if you're doing a lot of work with your horse, say you're climbing hills, you're going down hills, you don't want your saddle to have extra slip. If you're going to be dragging calves or anything, you want this to be able to hold your saddle on with that weight. You're also going to come underneath here, and you got this clip. Now this will come underneath, and there is another, there's a ring on the front of your cinch. And you're going to connect this to that ring, and that's going to connect 3 points of your collar right here. And then that right there, that is how you saddle up a Western saddle.